Hello and welcome to the Sunshine Codes podcast. I'm Ashley Sunshine, and I'm so excited to have Amy here with us today. Thank you so much, Amy Nicole, with Aligned by Amy, for being here with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
So I'm just going to introduce Amy for a moment, and then we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about priestessing today and the journey of the Mystery School of Life. And Amy is a priestess on the Mystery School of Life journey. We've been weaving our gifts together for many years now. And yeah, Amy is really a seeker of truth and a student of the source light. One of the things I really love about her and her work is her devotion to self-ceremony and her own constant relationship with her guides and angels, and that she stays so committed to truth. I really think that believe and feel that Amy holds really special codes in connection to the truth of why we're here, what we're meant to do here, and really how to follow those impulses to act in a way that's truly aligned with source. And also, Amy works with crystals. She was actually interviewed on a news channel here in Israel for crystal healing and crystal work because she has a really special connection with the mineral kingdom, which brings so much more depth to our conversations and to Amy's work. So thank you so much for being here, Amy. And I'm so excited to get into this conversation. And I'm just going to start with, of course, if there's anything else you want to say about yourself, but like what really started your journey into your spiritual awakening and your priestess path?
Okay, so I mean, it's a really long journey. I think I've always felt very deeply connected to spirit. Like ever since I was a young child, I just remember thinking like there's something else, like there's so much more to this world. Um, and I have memories of like even hearing spirit sometimes and having like crazy lucid dreams. But I disconnected from that for many, many years. And it wasn't until COVID that I really, well, I suppose, had like my spiritual awakening. And it was a time where I was able to be really introspective. So the whole world shut down, which meant that it gave me the space to really connect to my inner world again. And I found myself doing this incredible chakra balancing meditation. And I remember her reaching the solar plexus, and I just burst out into tears out of nowhere. Like I didn't know where it came from. And it kind of reminded me of that spark that I had lost
Mm.
for such a long time. And that was it. Like I went down the spiritual rabbit hole and I was listening to all the podcasts I could listen to. And I really like got my life back on track. And I was doing everything I possibly could to bring myself back into alignment, bring my mind, body, and soul back into alignment. Um, and that just, yeah, opened me up to this whole new world that I was ready to discover and like rediscover, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which then led me to you
Mm.
and your moon circles, which were such a beautiful gathering of like sisterhood and remembrance. And then it brought me into like the community aspect of things, which really allowed me to like, um, it gave me permission to be myself in a world that doesn't really accept or see spirituality.
And I really love that because you're talking about being in alignment, whereas other people maybe don't even use that word, but you're talking about being in alignment with who you are and being this child who is like open to magic and having experiences like lucid dreaming, and then kind of going into a period where you lose yourself because our society trains us to not be spiritual. Our society trains us to be very physical, logical in the material world. And then by you even using the word, like, I got back into alignment with myself, it's so telling. And I want to actually, for a moment, just ask you, what does alignment mean to you? Like, what does that feel to you when you're in
Mm,
alignment with yourself?
mm. I love the word alignment just because it has so many different meanings to it, right? It's like, okay, aligning with my mind, body, and soul. So, how can I like bring my thoughts and my beliefs into alignment with the person I meant to be? How can I act and treat my body in alignment with the person I meant to be? And how can I align with spirit and with the divine and the etheric realm, which guides me on this path and on my journey? And then, of course, we have like our energy centers in our body, our chakra system. So we want to kind of like be in alignment and make sure our chakras are all balanced, because that allows the flow of energy to come in from above.
Mm.
Um, and also, aligning ourselves to our path, aligning ourselves to our spirit guides, and so on and so forth. Mm.
Yeah. Wow. It's so beautiful to like remember that that's the true alignment, is to really allow the energy to flow within us and to be a beacon of the divine. Or like, they say that when we give ourselves to the divine, we become the hands and the voice and the eyes of the goddess. Like, our eyes are the eyes of the goddess. Our voice is the voice of the goddess. And I love that you really speak straight to that. And when we're around, the community, like we had the moon circles back in the day, it's like this opportunity to actually not have to filter ourselves and not have
Mhm.
to put on this mask of like, I'm a normal human in this world where everybody is materialistic and so am I. And it's like, wait, there's actually something much deeper going on within me. And I want to be able to bring it out. And so, yeah, you were like, we sought those experiences and then co-created them in Tel Aviv, which was so amazing. And then you were able to
Which,
come on the Soulpreneur retreat with Hila
yes.
Dekel. Yeah, tell us about that.
Right. So, well, firstly, I just want to speak to the circles, and it's so right because it gave me the freedom to express myself as I truly am. But I think what the beauty was, it was like a journey of discovery, right? It was like every time I would come, I would like remember a little bit more. And at first, it felt really uncomfortable for me. It was like new terrain kind of thing. Um, but the more and more I joined, um, the more I stepped into my power, I guess. And the Soulpreneur retreat was the peak for me. It was a remembrance of the true essence of my soul and who I really am, like who I came here to be. I remember leaving that retreat being like, wow, like I'm a witch and I claim that, like I own that. And that's like thanks to the space that you and Hila held so beautifully for us. Um, and there are women on who are on that retreat that are still like very, very dear friends. And were also a big part of that remembrance for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Retreats and those kind of spaces have been also just completely transformational for me on my journey. And I'm so like, it's such a privilege and a joy to hear that, and knowing that spirit guided me to create that space. It guided us to create that space and it guided you to join it. And just
Mhm.
how it feels. So, on some level it feels like, yeah, no big deal. You create a retreat,
Mhm.
people come on it, it's great, it's a good time, you have some remembrances, you have some activations, but like,
Mm,
actually it's
mm.
such a big deal.
It's life changing. Like it changed my entire world. And I couldn't be more grateful for it. And actually, I'm just remembering now because that it was on that retreat that I really connected with my body, you know, like we were doing yoga every morning, and I remember we did this like free flowing yoga class, and it was the first time I had ever done anything like that. And that opened up my world to meditative dance and ecstatic dance, which allowed me to connect with spirit on a much deeper level.
Mm.
So
Wow.
that was huge. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for bringing that piece because I think that embodiment piece and the freedom movement and like literally, not just like, in your consciousness, but literally physically in your body, opening the
Yeah.
channels and creating that movement and that space for spirit to move through. It's so crucial. And I love that the vinyasa yoga that I teach opened you up to ecstatic dance. I didn't know that. That's so
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, it makes so much
Hmm.
sense too. Um, yeah, and I mean, when we both lived in Israel. You're now living in England. I still live in Israel, and I'm coming to visit you very soon. I'm so excited.
I know, I
Um,
can't wait.
Me too. But when I was, I did some channeling classes with Michelle Channels, who do you know her? She was also on the
Yes.
podcast.
Yeah.
Um, she did this channeling class where I joined it, and I channeled Mary Magdalene. And I didn't even know that it was Mary Magdalene that was speaking to me and telling me that I'm supposed to bring women together in Israel. And that's part of
Mhm.
my like soul blueprint, and I have other things on there too. It's not the only thing, but that was one of the things she told me. And at the time, I didn't even know who she was. And it felt like I just didn't know what she was talking about. So I was like, but it made me feel better. Like I felt good hearing that in my mind, um, in my
Mhm.
vision and on a retreat in the Azores, and then on another retreat in France, I spontaneously remembered that experience and shared it with the women. And that's when it really came to life for me. That's when I understood, because of the reflections from the women, because of the connections that were made there, because of the space open for embodiment, I was able to put those pieces together and realize what she actually meant or what that vision was actually here to tell me. So yeah, your experience in the retreat just reminded me of that, because it's like these these things that our soul is calling us, even if our logical mind can't really explain it, but our soul is calling us there. It's like there's something there for us. And when we listen to the those little callings in our soul, then that's when really the magic happens. And I really see you as like having a certain level of mastery in that. Like you just know when something is right for you. Um, and it's been amazing to see. And I'd love to hear more about that. Like, yeah, what makes you know what's right for you? What made you decide to go on that retreat? Like what made you, decide to move back to England? Like not the logical decision, but the deeper.
Mhm. I think it's a really strong connection that I have with my intuition. And I'll expand because there are a number of elements that go with that. I think that I've really learned to be in communication with my body. I remember at the beginning getting so frustrated, being like, I don't know, is this a yes or is this a no? Like I can't tell, and it took practice to really be able to tune into like my body's reaction to whether something was right for me or not. Um, and in large part, meditation helped with that. And like your guided meditation specifically, because I've been doing them for so many years, help me connect with my inner world and my body. So I think the more I practiced that, the more in tune I was with my own internal like yes and no.
Mm.
And it made it easier, became easier to follow that. Then we have the ceremony space that is so, so sacred to me. And it's a time where I can really connect with my soul in an intentional way. So, like, I'll set myself time aside and I'll always like have kind of like an altar space with sacred objects, say a prayer, call in spirit. And then any questions that I may have, I bring that forth. I either say it out loud or in my heart. And then I move. I just move my body. I dance, I scream, I sing, like whatever intuitively feels right in the moment, I'll do. And I like um won't hyper focus on the question that I've asked myself. I'll kind of just like release it, let go, let my body do its thing. Um, which in fact, what it's doing when I'm moving is physically creating space, right? I'm like moving energy as I'm dancing. And in the movement of that energy, I'm allowing the wisdom to come through. And then it will just be like a download, you know? Like spirit just like shot down a letter, I don't know, like, and it will all make sense. And I'll be like, ah, okay, this is now what I need to do. And
Wow.
that can sometimes, like a big decision, like moving to London, I went back and forth with. Um, but I think it was just this knowing. It also feels like this sense of peace and almost like just excitement, like, yes, this is what you're meant to do. Yes, follow this path, even if it doesn't make sense, because a lot of times it won't.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Like this idea of going out of what makes sense and going out of the logical normal way of living and into the mystery, into the unknown, and connecting. And it's really sounded like you're talking about connecting to your inner navigation system, your intuition, your soul. Like, you know what you need to do. And maybe there's a lot of energy to move, right? That's why we dance. That's why we move things. And we have to like heal and clear a lot of fears and blockages that are in our way
Mhm.
of really knowing what our body wants. And it's a lifelong journey, and I really see that with us. It's like we still need to keep learning. We still need to keep tuning in. We still need to keep like tuning our inner thermometer, to what is a yes and what is a no.
Right.
Yeah, because we're like in this ongoing mystery school. I even said it last night, like, there's not going to be a point where we just are done.
Even
There's
though we wish we could be sometimes.
totally, totally
Yeah.
like, I'm there. Okay, I've got there, and now I'm just there. No, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah. Mhm. Yes.
I want to.
Also, I want to say that, like, sorry, just because, like, I can't take credit for it. Like, it's not all me, myself, and the work I do, the inner work I do when I'm at home alone, right? It's like I really commit to my healing journey. And that means like working with amazing guides and mentors, like yourself, like Hilan, and like so many women and men that have helped me on my path. Um, so yeah, it's not work that you're meant to do solely alone. I don't believe I would be here today if it wasn't for you and the amazing guides that I have in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes so much sense. And I was talking about it with one of my mentors too, and in the sense that we're moving from the patriarchal pyramid system into the circle. And so when we circle up with women, it's like at some point or another, we step into the center, and the other sisters get to learn from us. And then at some point we also step into the center, right? So we have this beautiful dance, and it takes really a tribe to
Mhm.
to help us grow. And so to, yeah, continue working with each other and to continue finding that resonance is so important. And I'm so grateful that you've been in my spaces for so many years now. You were in the Soulpreneur Retreat and the Moon Circles, and then you joined the Sacred Business Codes program, which was my 9-month program for women in business to connect to their soul guides like about their business, right? So
Mhm.
having your spirit team really help you and on your side with the business. And then you also joined Beyond, which was a meditation and coaching training, as well as a continuation of the business training. Um,
Right.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
so
And we had
glad.
our one-on-one container.
Yep.
And I just want to say that I'm never the same person when we end the container as when I started, like when I enter. There's so much growth and evolution and magic that happens like in your spaces. Um, and I think you've seen it.
Definitely, definitely. It's so amazing. And it has its ups and downs, and when there's a soulmate
Oh yeah.
client, yeah, when there's a soulmate client resonance though, like it's just, yeah, it's up and down and in and out, but we're just on this journey together. Like we're not here for perfection. We're not here to like just celebrate all the time. We're here with to dance with the shadows with each other. And that's what I also really loved about us working together is really because you are not afraid of dancing with your shadows and bringing it to the table, and through our containers too, you learned how to bring it even more, your truth to the table. um and that for me was so powerful because it felt like such a, like, it also is a growing for me. And I was talking to Hila about it the other day, that when we run our own programs, it's like we get the most out of it because we're going through an initiation too. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that I've had such soulmate resonance with you and your journey and your path. And that's also why I'm really excited to bring you in to support my next container, which was partly inspired by some words that you shared with me. And, my journey has brought me to teaching yoga and then to doing the coaching and the mentorship for women in business. And then I slowly realized through your help and your reflections that I'm coaching and mentoring priestesses, and that this is my mission. I'm here to rise up the priestesses and to remind you and myself and everyone else in the circle of our priestess lineage and our priestess duties and path here. um so thank you for that, and I'm so honored to have you as priestess support in Wellspring, the container that starts on Monday. And yeah, I'd love to hear just your perspective about what is a priestess? How do you know you're a priestess? Like, what was this journey like for you?
Okay. It's funny because I don't even think I realized like I was on the priestess path. But you are such a like strong embodiment of that priestess. And like it was so clear to me when I sent you that message. I was like, "Oh my goodness, like Ashley, I this is what you must bring this to the world." Like I had this vision of like the impact you would have owning your priestess power. And it's only upon reflection, really, that I saw how you weaved that path into like my life without even noticing, like bringing ceremony into my life, ritual, connecting with guides such as Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary. And I remember my Mary Magdalene initiation, which was the most powerful initiation I've had to date. And that's thanks to the book you gave me, the Sophia Code. um, and just feeling the truth and the heart of the priestess and how important it is that she is at the forefront of the world we are heading into. And so I'm deeply honored and so grateful that you've invited me to be part of this course. You taught me the importance of what it means to be a priestess and the history, the herstory of the priestess, and how we were silenced, and how there is no remnants of the priestess other than her living inside of us, in our hearts.
Mm.
And just being able to own that power and come together in sisterhood and rise again, like bring the priestess back to life, bring the power back into the hands of women who really want to do good in the world and really want to usher in this new world, bring in heaven on earth. Like, I see that as just, yeah, I just see the priestesses being at the forefront of that. And of course, there are like men that get to be a part of that, but it's connecting back to that power, connecting back to the truth of the universe and working with Mother Earth
Mm.
and the elements of nature.
Yeah.
That is just so
Cool.
embedded in the path of the priestess. So yeah, it's such important and beautiful work.
Oh, full chills when you were speaking. Thank you so much. And it reminds me of a conversation we had around, bringing wisdom to our platforms, sharing teachings. And something that we were discussing was like, well, who am I to bring teachings? I can't prove it. I can't, where's the research? Where's what books like agree with what I'm saying? And we got to this beautiful place where it's like, well, the library, the books have been burned and the living
Mhm.
library is within us. And I remember that coming through and just feeling the profoundness of that this is our duty. This is our duty. And we're going to look weird doing it. We're going to be judged by somebody, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
Yeah. The point is our duty to be on the forefront, to listen to the cutting edge information that's coming through our very cells, that's coming through our ceremony, that's coming through our soul. And really listening to the soul can only happen through what, like you said earlier, like meditation, tuning in, going into ceremony, having really space and time for the soul, and also being surrounded by other people who are doing similar things, so that it amplifies, because when we do it together, it amplifies. Yeah. So that being on the forefront and the information from our cells, the living library, speaking it into ears, at least at first, into ears that can hear it, so that then we can be strong enough to take it out there to ears that are like shocked or resistant. And that's the power of container. Yeah. So we were both celebrating Passover, and we were
Mhm.
both asked the question of, well, what's water have to do with what you're doing? Because
Mhm.
we're both involved in this upcoming course, Wellspring. And,
Mhm.
you know, obviously our families are curious about it and they want to ask us. And so we were giggling before this recording of like how we both had that problem and how it is hard to answer it to the layman. And so I'll talk about it, and I'm curious what you have to say too about it, Amy. In terms of like, what does water have to do with the priestess path? And what I love is that, I was talking to my brother. My brother's like so different from me. He's like a very, very normal guy, has a house, a job, kids, the car, everything. And not that I don't have a house and a job and a car, but like he has a very normal
Yeah.
life and has that very logical mindset. And
Mhm.
he was saying how he doesn't buy into astrology or human design or psychic readings or any of that because he thinks that any good advice for anyone is going to be good for everyone. And, that you can just twist it to work for you. This is like his perspective.
Mm.
And that, like, there's
Okay.
no way that the stars can dictate what we're meant to be doing here. And nothing is really connected in the way that they're saying that it is. And I was like, well, wait,
Mhm.
wait, wait, wait. What about water? And he's like, what about water? And I was like, well, water is literally showing that everything's connected. And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, you pee from your body. It goes back to the earth. It goes into the underground, reservoirs. It goes into the ocean, into the rivers, goes back up through the mist and through the evaporation and into the clouds and then rains down again. And then it goes into the plants and into my body. And you literally can't track where there's a separation. So even if you don't
Mhm.
believe that like the stars influence us, which is like crazy because basically 99.9% of human history knew human evolution knew that the stars affect us, and it's only in the last 1.1% of the story of Earth, of humanity, that we actually are too logical to believe that, you know?
Yeah.
Just like they used
And
to.
how like the moon affects the tides, and if it
Exactly.
affects the tides and we are 70% water, then how could it not possibly affect us and our moods?
Yes. Yes. And my father is also like a, just normal, straight guy, American dude. He works in a hospital, and he said by far there are more violent injuries on the full moon, by far.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. It's like a known thing for them. They know, oh, it's full moon. It's going to be crazy tonight. Yeah.
That's insane.
I know. I know. So I told him that. I was like, what about the water? And he was like, wow. Yeah, actually. And it's like, oh, there we go. So the way we treat the waters of our body are directly affecting the waters of the earth. And even the new presidential candidate, Bobby Kennedy, he said that when we see the environment, when we see women's fertility rates going down, which we're seeing globally, we also know that the environment and the waters of the earth are suffering. So they're also
Wow.
seeing in the labs and like the research labs a connection between fertility rates and the health of our water bodies, like rivers and lakes and the
Wow.
ocean. Yeah.
Mm.
So this is like that
Yeah.
very physical thing that connects the service. Like we're here in divine service, right? But what does that mean? Okay, we're tuning in, we're becoming aligned with our spirit, we're becoming aligned with ourself. We're hearing what we're being called. We're creating sacred space for others to awaken to their soul gifts. We're helping heal people. We're helping us come back into alignment with love, with truth, with connection, with the actual wealth, which is not material things, but is community and support, right? This is the actual wealth. It's having an amazing, incredible support system. It's not about how much money
Right.
you have in the bank. And so as we're remembering that and being in service to that as priestesses, we're also seeing, oh my God, like we're also in connection with nature. We're not separate from the water. We're not separate from the waters inside all the plants. And this is the actual substance that is connecting all things. So, of course, if we're here being in service to the whole, to the divine, we also need to be in service of water. So that's like the really obvious connection. But it goes so much deeper than that, because water is so much more than she seems to be. Um, and my teaching and conclusion from my meditations and reflections and research is that water is actually one conscious being. and that she's much further
Wow.
along than we are. Her consciousness is much farther evolved than our human consciousness. So
Mm,
she knows things. She knows secrets of creation, of the beginning. She knows secrets of harmony and the ultimate teachings of peace. She has those as well because she is peace. She is the interconnectedness of all things. And then on top of that, which we're going to dive super deep into in the course, which I'm really excited about, is the fourth phase of water, which they knew about for over 100 years now. They've known about the fourth
mhm,
phase of water, but don't teach it, even though it's literally critical for biological life. And the difference between the fourth phase water, the easy water or the biological plasma water versus the bulk water that we have separated from the ecosystem and that we've
mm,
treated with all these chemicals and call that healthy. It's like we're
mhm,
systematically destructuring ourselves. We're systematically separating ourselves from nature, and it starts with water and it ends with water.
mhm.
So how do you explain this to someone at Passover dinner? Like, where does it translate, to something that can actually keep people's attention and and be able to like light them up with the importance of this, or just accept that some people aren't ready for that?
Maybe, but also I think that the way you describe the power of water, I mean, you were even able to shift your brother's perspective, which is huge for someone who is like super skeptical and like doesn't believe in anything whatsoever. And then suddenly you made him think. So I think that's really important. I think because you're not just talking about like the spiritual essence of water, you're also bringing in like science and facts. And that really helps to just like ground that information and then understand like, wow, this really is the missing link.
Mm.
And I know for me, at this point of my priestess journey, I'm being so called to the waters, which is why I believe, you've also asked me to be a part of this course, which I'm so, so honored to be part of. Um, but you also guided me to like the sacred springs here in the UK. And I've seen the power of even just anointing myself with the spring water
Mm.
and feeling the shift in like cellular structure within my body when I'm placing that water over one of my energy centers. I feel the activation. And so I'm super excited to go dive even deeper on this path with you. And you're such an expert in this field. Like I could listen to you talk for hours on end about it. Like it's so your path, it's so your purpose.
Mm.
It's
Thank you.
mesmerizing. Yeah, you're just really drawing me in. And I believe that every priestess at some point on her journey will reach this point of like, okay, let's look to nature, of course, but also how the impact of the waters. And I love what you said about it being one consciousness. That's mind blowing.
Yeah.
That's mind blowing. One consciousness. Okay, so like if we work with the waters, what can the waters show us? What can it teach us? What questions can it answer? What healing properties do the waters have? How can it shift my life? Just
Yes.
really beautiful questions.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Oh, yeah, I love it. And this is the journey that we're going on together, and it is really a mystery school. And this is also what I'm realizing about even my yoga teacher trainings. I had a curriculum and I had set topics that I needed to cover due to the, regulations. And still, what excited me the most and what we really went into was a mystery school of like, let's ask those big questions. And this time we're going to bring those big questions to the water. And I feel that that takes the yoga, the consciousness kind of play that we do here, and really bring it to the earth, bring it to the water, to the tangible, life-giving biological substance that is right here. Yeah, and one thing I want to leave us with, because we're coming up to the end here, is that Veda Austin, who's an incredible water researcher, she did a recent like research database that showed that water can also be with us in our dreams. So I'll explain.
Mm.
So she
Yeah.
does these experiments where she'll hold a word or an object next to water for 30 seconds or more. And then she takes that petri dish that she just showed the word to and puts it in the freezer and then lets it freeze for like 5 minutes. So it's in the freezing process. Then she takes it out and takes photos of it with her iPhone. And she's finding that water is speaking through glyphs, through pictures. And water can interact with the words and reflect the words that she's putting on there. And she has like hundreds of other people around the world doing these same studies, and they're
Mm.
all getting similar pictures. And there's specific photos that she calls glyphs, specific images that she calls glyphs. And these become glyphs when they're shown 50 times or more with the same word or the same idea. So for example, if she plays like Stairway to Heaven to the water,
Mm-hmm.
it will show a stairway. And the stairway also means going up. It also
Right.
means literally like a ladder. So she can write the word ladder and then put it, and it'll show the same thing as Stairway to Heaven. Amazing. Amazing. And she's come up
She
with like,
writes the word ladder and it will show a staircase.
yes,
Wow.
yes, yes. And so
That's
she's been, and
incredible.
it's incredible at what she's done. And she is like really like she's playing with her consciousness with it, because she says that water will play with her. Like if she's too sure what the water is going to do, the water won't do
Mm.
what she thinks it's going to do. So you have to be really pure in your consciousness, because your consciousness affects the water.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. So she did these same studies with water that's sitting next to her while she was dreaming. And she found images
Mm.
from her dreams in the water. And she says that water has a multidimensional presence. So it can actually travel with you to the dream world, because it's there communicating with the waters of your body.
I have full body chills. I'm shocked. That is incredible. Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is also where
And
we,
so,
Go ahead.
no, I'm just like trying to wrap my head around this. So she'll
Go ahead.
have like, what, she'll go to sleep and have like a plate of water next to her.
Yeah.
And then she'll take photos of it in the
She
morning because it's not
freezes it.
frozen, right? It's been overnight.
It's been overnight
She'll freeze
outside and
it
she
when she
goes,
wakes up.
exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
I have to try this.
Yeah. Yeah. A little petri
Yeah.
dish. And she shares her method like on her different podcasts and stuff. I'm not exactly sure like the parameters of her experiments, but I think it's something like put it in the freezer for 5 minutes. Then you pour the
Mm,
top layer of water off because only the bottom will have frozen. And then you take a photo, something like that. So, but you can look into it. Her
okay.
name is Aveda Austin. I'll put the link to her talk on Gaia in the show notes. She did a great talk on
Mm,
Gaia. Yeah.
okay.
Um,
Amazing.
it's just a little
That's
drop.
just insane to me. No, I just could like it's blowing my mind because it's just such evidence that like everything has a consciousness. Everything is a living being, including the crystals, my friends.
Yes, including the crystals. Exactly. We didn't even get to talk about crystals, but
Yeah.
I'm really excited because I want you will be sharing more about crystals in the Wellspring course. And
Yes.
one of the things that we talk about in the water work is that our bodies are living crystals because our bodies are made of highly structured biological water. 99.6%
Mm.
of our molecules are water molecules. And so that means every protein molecule in our body has 1,000 water molecule friends surrounding it all the time, which is so
Mhm.
beautiful to think that we are that living biological crystal. And what implications does that have?
Mhm.
But there's a beautiful episode. I'll also share this in the show notes because it just touches on what you said, from the Emerald podcast by Josh Schrei. His episode called Inanimate Objects Are Not Inanimate or Objects.
Mhm.
And he talks about this, how everything has a spirit, everything is animate, and that we've forgotten. So slowly the animate forces become dormant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the priestess path is awakening them back up again by doing those practices with the water, going to the sacred wells, anointing ourselves, telling the spirits there that we're here, we're present, we're listening, we want to connect. We want to hear you. And the same thing
Mhm.
happens with the water too. When we come to the water and we say, water, we want to hear you, like her consciousness lights back up again, just like us. Like we're sitting there and someone comes and asks us a question about the truth of our soul. And we're like, yes, like I want to talk about this, and then water's the same.
That's so, so beautiful because it's like, okay, we're not here just to work with other like human beings. We're here to like, yeah, wake up the consciousness of the earth and all its living beings. Yeah, that's just really beautiful.
Oh man, that's such a beautiful note to end on. I love that. We're not here to just wake up ourselves and other humans, but to wake up the consciousness of all. Thank you, Amy. This has been so, so
Thank
wonderful.
you.
And I really appreciate you coming on and yeah, just being such an integral part of my journey. And I'm so honored to be such an integral part of yours. And I know that more and more women are going to be weaving in our circle and we're going to be weaving in other circles. And I'm just so excited to see where this all leads to and to look back on this art tapestry of our life and see the magic that we've created, because it
Mhm.
really only comes in hindsight, right? When we just trust our alignment and our truth, we just have to go for it, and we're kind of navigating the dark.
Totally, totally navigating in the dark. And there's just, yeah, there's a lot of like fear and doubt, but we have to like just believe in ourselves and keep showing up. And you've been such a big part of like my journey. So thank you so much. And thank you for having me on the show. It's been really fun.
You're so welcome. Thank you. We'll see you later. Bye bye.
Bye.